And so far, you've mostly hired in Filipinos. You're half Filipino, so you definitely have a little bit of bias there.
Yeah.
But what about Mexicans or Colombians, Venezuelans?
Yeah, we've actually hired some Latinos before too, and I think they're great, especially in markets like Vegas where there's a lot of bilingual people. And so I've seen a lot of success. I mean, they just have like better culture. They understand the American culture better. The time zone's easier for them. So everything about it's like, I think it's probably a better bet overall. Yeah. A lot of these offshore, people are getting really good, and you're going to get them at a fraction of the price compared to an American. And they're hungry. Like, that's the thing I realized too. They're just hungrier for that kind of position.
So we got Ryan Pineda here. What do you think about hiring people remotely in Latin America?
Yeah, I've been using VAs for almost 6 years now. And I mean, we've used them for various tasks over the years, cold callers, executive assistants, lead managers, all those things. But dude, I still use them to this day. They're huge.
What do you feel is like one of the biggest advantage of a real estate wholesaler, flipper, business owner to use someone that is offshore as opposed to someone in the U.S.?
Well, I think that a lot of these offshore, people are getting really good, and you're going to get them at a fraction of the price compared to an American. And they're hungry. Like, that's the thing I realized too. I had American cold callers and I had Filipino cold callers, and the Filipinos actually did more dials, generated more leads and everything else because they're just hungrier for that kind of position.
Yeah. So if you had a marketplace where you can go and find your own remote Latino or any virtual assistant, similar to what exists out there, Upwork, things like that, but it's going to help your real estate business or just your business in general. How would you use it every month? How would you have your team use it to hire the people?
Yeah, I think it's great, especially if you're on a budget. I mean, honestly though, my team would probably just pay you guys to go find them for us, but I think it's great if you're on a budget.
What do you look for when you're looking for a remote team member?
I want somebody who's a hard worker, somebody who's got like skill in whatever we're hiring them for, and just somebody who's like just dependable, really. Like, you just want somebody who's going to show up and put in the work.
Yeah. What do you think are the biggest mistakes that people do when hiring someone, and that's why they don't last? They just quit, or they end up having to fire them?
I think you don't do enough in the beginning to vet them properly. I think you're not doing the hiring process correctly. If you got to hire, or if you got to fire somebody that quick or that often, you're not doing things right in the beginning.
What do you feel like it's mostly the interview process? Is it like you don't have core values? You don't do it?
Yeah, recruiting it's an entire funnel of its own, right? So you got marketing to figure out where can I find the best talent? How am I going to attract them? Then it goes down into the funnel. Okay, how do I vet all these people now, right? Do I have personality tests? Do I take them through skills assessments and things they can do on their own? Then from there, how do we interview all of these people? How do we find out if they have a core value fit? And then once you get to the end of like, okay, what's a comp plan that makes sense? Is this person bought into the mission and what we're doing? Do I think they can be here long term? And if, it goes through this whole funnel, then we end up hiring them.
That's exactly right. Something that remotelatinos.com actually does. And actually, we're building a platform that will allow, through algorithms and AI, kind of, if you have Bumble, Tinder, and Upwork at the same time, where it's matching you with your the remote team member or future remote team member.
Your future husband, your future wife.
Yeah, I was going to say everything but love.
Everything but love, yeah. Without the broken heart.
Yeah.
What is, when someone says onboarding a team member, like what is your process of onboarding someone? Is it like a multi-day onboarding process? Is it just like a presentation? What do you guys do to onboard team members?
I think we could be a lot better at this. There's certain things you do to onboard, especially like salespeople, but like the onboarding's like a week, and then we're pretty much throwing them in the fire and seeing what they're made of.
How long do you give people a chance to, before you let them go? You mentioned if you fire someone immediately, do you give them like a set days? Like, how does it look, specifically when it comes to sales? Like, is it like
sales? Dude, I mean, like you can kind of tell within a couple of weeks whether or not they're going to last. And so I'm trying to do a better job of just kind of like having that expectation from the beginning. Like, hey, these first 30 days is it's a test run. By no means don't think you're going to be here forever. Like, you got to really prove to us in the first 30 days. And by the way, it might not even be 30 days. You know, if the first 2 weeks aren't looking good, then there's kind of no reason to keep going.
Yeah. So your team actually have hired a few video editors with us, and so how do you manage your remote teams? Like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people they're used to in the office or they don't know how to do it. How do you manage that?
I don't manage them, so I couldn't tell you.
You have team members.
Yeah, the
your
team,
leadership.
the team manages these people, so I don't know.
I'm assuming you have an executive assistant.
Yeah.
Do you have her in-house or
Yeah.
is it someone?
Yep.
Okay. And have you ever thought about hiring an assistant? Because Esteban has one that's, where's she based in? Bogota.
Yeah.
But he lives in Miami most of the year. Have you thought about like having someone outside of Vegas as an executive assistant, or do you feel like you need someone here to kind of help around with all this stuff?
I think it could work for a lot of people being virtual. Not necessarily me, because I have so many in-person meetings, and so like for you guys got to go on the tour and all this other stuff. So there's just so much in-person stuff that happens.
Yeah. If you were starting your wholesaling business today, what's the first hiring you make?
I would hire somebody to help me cold call, somebody to help me handle leads, because I would start marketing today and just trying to get through the leads to make money. Yeah.
So focus on booking appointments. You close appointments.
Yeah. I'd be the closer. I just want somebody generating me leads, setting appointments, following up, leads manager.
Yeah. And at what point do you do like your next hires, or like someone that is starting out, or maybe just being in business but never really hired? They've done everything themselves. Their second hire and so on.
It just depends, right? I always tell people you're going to hire what you're either not good at or what you hate. So for most people, that's going to be like administrative type deals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you could hire a TC or somebody to handle the transactions or the emails and stuff, like that's very low level task that can easily be delegated, that save you a ton of time.
Oh yeah.
So you can do the things that make you money, which is typically closing deals.
Yeah. People are still hiring local people all the time. Like, do you think if you were starting out, like when you started out, you mentioned hiring American cold callers in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that is even worth trying out at first? Would you split test it, or would you just go, I'm going to hire Filipinos, I'm going to hire Mexicans?
Yeah, today I wouldn't hire American cold callers, no. I would hire them as actual salespeople, who are going to close, but I would not hire them as cold callers.